Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, Gungans and droids across our beloved empire. And don't you worry, I didn't forget about you cat-moonted-looking coneheads either. To today's video, where we are going to rank all the characters in Star Wars Galaxy Heroes from the best to the very worst. I love doing this series. It's been one of the biggest series I started way back in the day, and I want to thank you guys for your unending loyalty, for your continued support of this series. Last time we did this video, we got 5.4 billion likes. And since the last time we made this video, a lot of minor reworks, Omicrons, couple of new characters, a legendary, and a brand new galactic legend. How do I think all this fits? Well, sit back, relax, link down below if you want to download this graphic. And I say we get on into it. Normally we kind of skip over the youngling category, but kind of a couple things change with some Omicrons as well as some minor character reworks, helping some characters lift themselves out of the bottom category. For example, Tuscan Raider got an Omicron, and might not be the greatest Omicron in the game, but it's a great offensive Omicron that easily bumps it up 2 more spots due to the Omicron, and you can work your way through a lot of difficult teams in offense, especially teams that only have single fire damage. It's a character that literally is the definition of bare bones trash. And with the Omicron, it's a usable team nowadays and sometimes throws off opponents if they don't have the right tools for them. And on top of that, 2 characters are finally completely out of the youngling category, even without an Omicron, and that's gonna be the Gamorian Guard as well as the Mob Enforcer. Gamorian Guard, I still feel like, is not amazing outside the Hutt cartel, but they got some decent changes to them that make them more usable for the Hutt cartel, but they are very much so tied to the Hutt cartel. The sad thing is, they're not really likely going to be in the core Jabba team, at least in Grand Arena and Territory Wars, which is kind of the core analysis for this graphic here. Maybe outside of other content, raids and territory battles, maybe we'll see more use out of Gamorian Guard. But the character that got more of a renovated rework is going to be the Mob Enforcer, which brings us to the Padawan category. Let's just start off with Mob Enforcer. The problem is, she got a rework, which is great because if you're working towards Jabba the Hutt, you kind of don't want trash characters. The good thing is she's got a completely different kit than before. Her unique ability allows her to amplify stats and whatnot. Probably not going to be in the Jabba the Hutt team because, let's be honest, Boushh Leia, Skiff Guard Lando, Cursanthan, kind of the core 3 needed for Jabba. Jabba takes up a spot. And then you're left up with the last line, which likely is going to go to Boba Fett, Embo, Greedo. You know, Mob Enforcer, you can definitely use her in there. I don't think she's a fantastic character with the rework. She's definitely a bit better than before, but easily in the Hutt cartel, she's a better character. So with the +1 modifier, easily throws her in the Knight category. But there's a couple other things in the Padawan category that I want to bring your attention to, such as Savage, Oppress, Omicron. We definitely are a little bit overdue for an all Omicrons rank guide, which we'll do that probably here in the near future. Savage is kind of the new, more accessible version of the Wampa. Just came out a few weeks ago. We're already seeing a lot of good uses with Savage soloing a lot of teams, but the best part about Savage is you can use him on defense, unlike Wampa, and you can use him with more than just a solo. So if you want to do a full team of 3, you have that opportunity. So Savage Omicron, I'm calling it right now. It's going to be a top Omicron once more people get access to additional Omicron materials out there. Other things we need to know that have been updated in the Padawan category. Kind of a lot of action here. We got the rest of the Inquisitor faction. For example, we finally have the 5th brother added to this, which was not here when we did this back in April. We're going to have more of a minor dissertation in this video on Inquisitors, but definitely one of those marquees that didn't really amplify much. They really were just a building stone for the Grand Inquisitor, of course. Cursanthan, Skiff Guard, Lando. Outside of Jabba the Hutt, Skiff Guard Lando's the better unit, of course. Kind of like a mini Hux, able to pass around turns. Definitely has some uses outside of the Hutt cartel. And in the Hutt cartel, easily a master level character when in that right situation of Jabba the Hutt. Cursanthan, what's a nice way of putting him? It's kind of like a wet fart. Before Jabba the Hutt gets into the situation here, once you get Jabba the Hutt, Cursanthan's a much different beast at that point. However, before Jabba, you're probably not going to really utilize Cursanthan all that much, unfortunately. It's just the Hutt cartel, not a fantastic faction before you get Jabba, but once you get Boushh Leia, the Hutt cartel starts having some meat on the bones. And I have to say this, one more other character I'd like to bring up Fulcrum Ahsoka. More territory war oriented, so if you don't care about territories, probably an Omicron or a character or mini part of the episode you could probably skip over. But Ahsoka Fulcrum is literally the Wampa of territory wars. Great character for soloing a variety of teams, like for example, Emperor Palpatine, Starkiller. People had to start changing up their lineups for territory war defense to try to look around Fulcrum Ahsoka, but she can even take on things like Iden. So pretty much almost anything Wampa can do in Grand Arena, Fulcrum Ahsoka can do that inside a territory. So +3 modifier, Omicron specific for territory wars. Moving on, night category. Couple of interesting things happen in the night category. As we're gonna see, once we get to the master category, I'm being a bit more picky this round on what is master level. So as a result, a lot of these characters kind of got squished down into the night category. And of course, we added the modifiers +1, 2s, and 3s. As you guys know the drill, but there are a couple new characters added to this list since the last time. Shorty, Grand Inquisitor, as well as Radis and Bausch Leia. New characters completely added to this list here. Let's start off with Shorty. Shorty is one of those characters, as I've been telling people, I hope there's gonna be an older public legendary event of sorts that's gonna force people to get her. She's a great character. The problem is there's not much reason to farm her because she's not a nesting doll for any sort of legendaries. I think maybe in 2023, we'll start seeing more of a dedicated legendary use, but she's great with leftover droid. And I hate to admit it, but I probably lose more battles than I should be up against Shorty. Can always throw you off and a lot of different droid combos to get her going. Grand Inquisitor, let's get to that mini dissertation here. I've been playing the game since 2015, played every legendary event since day one, always been on top of the meta since day one. Grand Inquisitor feels the least legendary character probably in the history of Galaxy Heroes. Now, I always like to make my biases clear. I'm more Grand Arena biased. He's more Territory War biased. In Territory Wars, let's look at the facts. In Territory Wars, he can beat things like General Anakin Skywalker fairly easy within a matter of seconds up against them. He can also beat some Jedi Master Luke team. Master Kenobi kind of need that datacron that existed way back when, which is gone nowadays, but he could beat some Master Kenobi teams inside of territories, but it just kind of feels like he's a character that's kind of like a slightly above a marquee level character, but I'm being generous. I gave him the +2. When you have the territory Omicrons, he could be considered a Grandmaster. Outside of it, at best, the Inquisitors as an entirety, maybe he's a +1 that throws him into the master category. Overall, not incredibly impressed with the Inquisitors this year, but Reva's around the corner. We were told Reva is going to be the new territory battle reward exclusive, so we'll see. Maybe Reva will replace Grand Inquisitor as a lead. Wouldn't that be something here? Radis, important for the profundity, of course. But how's the inside of Grand Arena Territory Wars? I quite like him. I think he's decent. I don't think he's over the top amazing. He's pretty simple to beat for the most part. Throwing a bad batch, usually you can call it a day. But the cool thing about Radis is you can't just throw Imperial Troopers and stomp them because they're going to stop Terminator on Palpatine teams. Anything that's Empire based that has Terminator, Radis can shut it down. So overall, I feel like Radis kind of hits that sweet spot for what I usually kind of expect out of a marquee character. Not god tier amazing, but definitely with the Rogue One squad, you're going to get some decent uses out of it inside of Grand Arena and Territory Wars, and we're starting to see that maybe there's going to be some territory battle viability with the Cassian Omicron. We're going to have to wait on that. Let's focus more on the PvP stuff. Last new character on the list is going to be Bausch Leia. Bausch Leia is making the moves, making the plays. Once you have the Hutt Cartel Jabba, she's really the core engine of the Jabba team, to be honest. Of course, Jabba gives a lot of bonuses, cleanses. Yes, he's a galactic legend. He's fantastic. But loving him, but Bausch Leia is the engine. And if you want to run the Hutt Cartel, you need her before you get Jabba the Hutt. Otherwise, Hutt Cartel, kind of a snooze fest. They're not crazy. I'd say maybe they're a little bit better than the Inquisitors were before Grand Inquisitor came around. But Bausch Leia is kind of needed to stop the attacks on a turn. Her lead is the lead to run of Hutt Cartel until you get Jabba the Hutt. So for me personally, starting point, easily a knight. Once you have Jabba in the picture, she's easily a Grandmaster. She's kind of, in my opinion, the Hux to Jabba the Hutt, the Resistance hero Finn to Rey. That's kind of the way to kind of phrase how she's going to be. She's going to be a staple for that lineup. I don't want to go too much in depth on these guys. I used to have Scion, Nihilus, Dark Trooper, Iden, and Kyle Katarn in the Master category. Kind of looking at them. Masters, I want to be very picky. I want to have characters that are kind of like staple, plug-and-play units that don't 100% rely on being in a given team that boosts the synergies. Of course, all these characters are fantastic. I love Kyle Katarn, Iden Versio, Dark Trooper, but the fact of the matter is they're very much team synergy specific, and when in the right teams, they are really darn amazing. Dark Trooper, I love my boy. Dark Trooper is one of my favorite characters, but he's got to be in a good Imperial Trooper team to really get the full potential out of them here. And on that note, what do I consider to be master rank in the game? Fun fact, in the master category, maybe I've been a little overly picky. I added nothing new inside of the master categories, more cleanup and kind of making sure these characters stand out a little bit more. We mentioned characters that drop down. I just want to kind of point out a few characters that I kind of think are important in the master category, really kind of explain how I feel about the master category. Let's take, for example, Echo, Bad Batch Echo, that is, Mara J-R3, some of the more newer-ish units. Of course, not brand new. These are mostly 2021 characters. Echo, extremely fast character, mass buff dispel days. You can use it in a variety of lineups. Heck, I used it in the Darth Vader lineup the other day, getting out there, pulling the tenacity up off of Kenobi so we can make plays happen. That's an example there. Mara Jade, incredibly fast, can open up with a ton of stagger, push back Terminator. Another great example of a character I think is worthy of master. And of course, in Territory, she's even nuttier because in Territory, she's likely going to be the first one to go. And then Dash Rendar, fast character, able to mass AoE and likely just completely decimate an opposing team out there. So those are kind of examples of characters I feel like, yes, they're staple to certain teams, but they also have this little bit of an X factor that I feel like makes them kind of plug and play-ish to some sort of degree. And Grandmaster, Darth Malgus. And I'm doing something kind of for the first time. Normally, I've never had a +1 modifier on a Grandmaster type of character. These are all great, although I will be honest, the Revans are questioning whether they should be Grandmaster. I feel like there's arguments to be made that maybe they have to be knocked down to Master, but I know I'd probably get a lot of flack if I did that. So I think I can make an argument for the Revans being Grandmaster, but Malgus, though, I'm giving him a +1 modifier when he's in Grand Arena and the Omicron slapped on. He's pretty much as close as you can get to a Galactic Legend. It feels like the off-meta counters really get dropped down drastically to the Sith Empire team, where you better hope that maybe you can throw gas up against it. Maybe you can throw Star Killer up against it. And of course, we're not talking about Datacrons. We don't believe in that around these parts. I'm actually planning on dressing up as a Datacron for Halloween because I think they're pretty scary. But Darth Malgus, one of the best characters to come to Galaxy in a long time. Even though they're very team-specific, being a very durable Sith tank that does damage based off their max health, kind of like a Malak 2.0. You can use them in the Sith Eternal lineup. I've seen them be used in other type of Sith lineups out there, but obviously at the end of the day, this guy's designed for the Sith Empire, taking Darth Revan to practically Galactic Legend heights. And speaking of Galactic Legends, let's talk about the Galactic Legend category, where we only have one new thing to talk about. Jabba the Hutt. Jabba the Hutt's been in the game for roughly 2-ish weeks now or so, and we talked about our initial impression of the character. My expectations were kind of exceeded with this character. I was not expecting to be as good as he was, despite his requirements not being as crazy, because normally we're used to seeing requirements for Galactic Legends go up and up and up. With Jabba, we kind of see it went down a little bit from Kenobi as well as Lord Vader, and he's doing great in pretty much every type of game mode, and I think he's going to be great in territory battles, but in a Grand Arena territory war sense, he's probably the hardest counter we have. The Jedi Master Kenobi, and he doesn't have a lifter unit. So all in all, so far initial impressions, I'm liking the character quite a lot. Of course, these Galactic Legends are not ranked in any particular order, but if you do want to see my Galactic Legends ranking that doesn't have Jabba, there's a card in the top right-hand corner. In August, you rank all the Galactic Legends, but Jabba the Hutt, pretty darn solid. I'm looking forward to learning more about him so we can update that Galactic Legends list and see where does he fit in a world of 7 Galactic Legends. So on that bombshell, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to put the graphic one more time. That's going to wrap it up for our October 2022 all characters ranked in Star Wars Galaxy Heroes. Not a lot has happened per se since the last time we made this video, but a couple of new characters, a couple of Omicrons, couple of small reworks, and some reshuffling to kind of make sure we really give a high priority to those Master and Grandmaster level characters out there. So thank you all so much for coming out. I always love doing this stuff with you. Hopefully character rankings will still be applicable nowadays, even though we focus more on team synergies. And of course, we have made all teams ranked in the game, but it's kind of nice looking at these characters individually and just kind of giving you my updated takes on these beats that Galaxy of Heroes is going through. And we know that the next time we're going to make this video, we might have Reva. I have a feeling we're not going to unlock Reva until next year, but we know Hondo's going to come out this week. I'm really excited to see about him. Dr. Aphra and a couple of the new characters required for her. So, oh boy, we're going to have some couple fun things to talk about the next time we meet up. But until then, thank you for stopping by. Love the support. Love to see you guys, because around here, it's great to be in the Empire today.